Chapter 405. When the fire started, Lu Dachui was still feeling complacent in his own restaurant. It was as if he could already see the restaurant closing down, and his restaurant returning to a bustling scene. In his opinion, this so-called online streamer was just a lucky bastard who relied on the protection of his ancestors to get into the research institute. To put it bluntly, he was just a good-for-nothing second generation who posed no threat at all. Lu Dachui was not stupid. He only dared to mess with him because he saw him as a pushover. As for how he saw him as a pushover, of course, it was because of Su Yiyen's identity as an online streamer. If he really had a powerful family background, why would he go to such a small website to become an online streamer? Did rich people have nothing better to do? However, he obviously had not heard of the saying, "If you walk too much at night, you will always run into ghosts." It was not until he was taken away by the police and his restaurant was closed indefinitely that Lu Dachui realized that he had kicked an iron plate. Li Dachui was not the only one who was really unlucky. Yu Chaoshua was a family member who did not do any proper work at home. He had an elite white-collar elder sister and a younger sister who relied on her own abilities to get into a famous university. As the only son in the family, Yu Chaoshua grew up spoiled. He was taught from a young age that everything in the family belonged to him. In the future, his sister's things would also belong to him. His parents' preference for boys also affected Yu Chaoshua imperceptibly, causing him to develop a self-righteous temperament. After graduation, he simply stayed at home and relied on his elder sister. This kind of life was originally quite happy. However, 3 years ago, his sister finally could not stand the family's blood-sucking behavior and completely cut ties with their family. Ever since his sister graduated and started working, his parents quit their jobs and focused on sucking his sister's blood. When his sister left, the whole family directly lost their financial lifeline. It was not that Yu Chaoshua's parents did not think of going to his sister's company to make trouble. If it were an ordinary person, his sister would not be able to keep her job. However, the key was that his sister's boyfriend at the time was the son of the company's CEO. Not only did they not threaten their eldest daughter, but they also brought back bad names. Yu Chaoshua's life changed drastically. In order to maintain their daily lives, his parents asked their youngest daughter to drop out of school and work. But because of the elder daughter, the younger daughter also had a rebellious heart. She was disheartened by the family and stayed at the school on a part-time basis, never returning home. Yu Chaoshua's parents had already taken out all their savings to buy a house for him in the future. Now, without his sister's income, the family's daily life had become a problem. Yu Chaoshua's girlfriend broke up with him directly after she found out. This young master had no choice but to face up to the situation at home and began to look for a job. However, he had been spoiled since he was young. He was not good at studying and did not learn any technical skills. They could only find some physical work, but they found it too tiring. Every time, they would quit after a few days. They couldn't even get their previous salary. Since his life was not going well, he could only become a keyboard warrior on the internet. He kept cursing those glamorous stars and successful people to vent his dissatisfaction and depression. Who would have thought that his actions would create a notorious nickname that everyone in the entertainment industry knew about? Chapter 406. This account was a famous *T stirrer in the industry. He was not a fan of anyone, but he could be a hater of everyone. At first, he scolded people on the internet just to vent his anger, but it didn't take long for him to realize that scolding people not only brought him satisfaction, but also attracted attention and fans. No matter how outstanding a celebrity was, there would always be a group of anti-fans. These people would come out to scold the celebrity when he was proud, and even more so when the celebrity fell, they would come out to trample on him. And the person who scolded the most would often get a certain amount of attention and be crowned. Yu Chaoshua got some benefits from this and started to attract these anti-fans. After that, his appetite grew and he started to think about how to attract those true fans. For this reason, he started to play schizophrenia on the internet. Sometimes he scolded people so much that he wanted to dig up the graves of the other party's ancestors. Then he would turn around and flatter the same person. Some people concluded that he once split into more than 10 personalities on the internet at once, and comments like, "I scold myself," and "I beat myself" were endless. However, no one could do anything to him. They could only watch as he stirred up trouble and disgusted people. Because of his terrible reputation, there were actually many people who contacted him privately and paid him to help stir up trouble, smear the reputation of some famous artists in the industry, or with his help self-directed abuse of a wave of fans. Yu Chaoshua was a little arrogant to be able to scold people and get paid. Some of his actions on the internet were getting more and more out of line. Su Yiyan and her medicinal cuisine restaurant were named to be smeared by his employer this time. Yu Chaoshua was cautious and conscientious. In the past few days, he had scolded Su Yiyan and her medicinal cuisine restaurant. Usually when he scolded, the person in question would lose some fans, especially this time when it was involved in a murder case. However, the audience in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room was more loyal than the celebrity's fans, and their fighting power was not ordinary. Yu Chaoshua had been in the industry for a long time, but this was the first time he was pushed to the ground. In a fit of anger, he set up a flag that said, "If this restaurant is really innocent, I'll do a live broadcast of myself peeing upside down." In the end, who would have thought that this restaurant, which had been scolded all over the internet, would really rebound and turn things around in an instant? Yu Chaoshua panicked. He immediately changed his account name and pretended not to respond. He had thought that he would be able to get away with it as long as he pretended to be dead, like he had done many times before. However, he did not expect to be repeatedly whipped by the main character and his fans. As soon as Su Yiyan posted the news that he wanted to pursue the matter, an electronic leaflet from the court was sent to his personal account. Only then did Yu Chaoshua panic. He paced in circles while cursing Su Yiyan and the fans who spoke up for Su Yiyan. She was indeed a fan who followed the lead of the show. She was so petty. He had only scolded her a few times, but she was so calculative. What a slut. However, no matter how much he cursed, he couldn't change the outcome. What he thought was fine was completely shattered the moment the police came to arrest him. After learning that his employer was suspected of malicious business competition, and because he accepted the other party's order and took the other party's money, he was also involved in the case. If the victim really wanted to pursue the matter, it was very likely that she would go to jail. Yu Chaoshua's legs suddenly turned to jelly, and his parents cried their hearts out. They had given birth to 3 children, and 2 of them had good prospects and were strangers to them. They had ruined themselves by doting on them like pearls and treasures. In the end, they paid the price for their failure in raising their children. Chapter 407. Su Yiyan published the indictment on the internet. Many people were still concerned about the follow-up of this matter. After learning that Lu Dachui and the notorious blogger on the internet had been arrested, Su Yiyan's viewers and fans in her live streaming room could be said to be elated. Some of the artists and fans who had been persecuted by Yu Chaoshua were overjoyed when they saw that this malignant tumor had finally been removed. They naturally had a good impression of Su Yiyan, a righteous person, who punished evil and eliminated evil. They spontaneously ran to her account to leave good comments. When Su Yiyan logged in again, she found that her live streaming account had suddenly increased by millions of fans overnight. Some of the other live streamers who were jealous of Su Yiyan originally wanted to take advantage of Su Yiyan's loss of power to step on her, but now they did not dare to say anything, especially when they saw her statement and the subtle smiling emoji at the end. They felt like it was saying, "You want to mess with me, right? Come on, I'll kill one if one comes. If 2 come, I'll kill 2. If a group comes, I'll kill them all." The group of people was so scared that they became like quails. Su Yiyan did not know what kind of misunderstanding and panic she had caused with the emoji she had casually sent out. After confirming that these people had been arrested, she did not care about the matter anymore. Thanks to her brother, Dongqing City had a very powerful legal department. This legal department never fought a battle that they were not confident in. Su Yiyan was very reassured by this legal department. She said that she wanted to pursue these people's mistakes. In fact, she only conveyed one request to this department, which was to make them pay the corresponding price for their actions. Su Yiyan knew that she was not a kind person. Since these people had already stepped on her nose and stepped on her face to bully her, There was no reason for her to swallow her anger. Lu Dachui, the mastermind, would definitely not be able to escape. She might not be able to do anything to the man who came to her door to extort money, but she could not let him off so easily from a legal point of view. This could be considered as killing the chicken to warn the monkey. With him as a precedent, if anyone wanted to extort money from her family in the future, they would have to think twice about whether they could survive their punishment. The same logic applied to the blogger on Weibo. Yu Chaoshua was not the only blogger that Su Yiyan was pursuing this time. These people all had a few things in common. He had a foul mouth and had a certain number of fans and influence. Furthermore, he didn't have a good reputation in the industry. It was obvious that he was someone who would do anything for money. Catching such a person and killing him as an example would not only deter those disgusting people with impure thoughts, but it would also make the other victims happy. It could be said to be killing two birds with one stone. It's all settled? Su Yiyan turned around and saw that Hua Chenhuan had appeared not far behind her. Her eyes lit up, and she took the initiative to step forward. Why are you here? Uncle Zhang said you were here. Hua Chenhuan took the initiative to hold Su Yiyan's hand and repeated her previous question. Have you solved everything? Yes. Su Yiyan nodded hurriedly. It's all settled. This time, I have to thank the employees in the company who helped me. I'm going to postpone the opening of the restaurant for 2 days, and specially arrange 2 days to make medicinal cuisine for them to thank them for their help this time. Since the test results were out and there were no major problems, this meant that Su Yiyan's medicinal cuisine restaurant could reopen at any time. Originally, this restaurant was only known by a portion of the livestream viewers and the patient's family members. Now that Lu Dachui's incident had completely increased the restaurant's popularity. Chapter 408. It should be known that as long as one was human, there would be times when one's body would be unwell. The medicinal cuisine in Su Yiyan's restaurant was known to treat illnesses and recuperate the body even if one wasn't sick. Now that the testing department had given such eye-catching data, in addition to the personal experience of a seriously ill elderly patient, they could clearly see the magic of medicinal cuisine. How could they not be moved? Before this, because there were too many people calling the restaurant every day to make an appointment, Su Yiyan simply let the person in charge of the front desk register a public account and release 200 people at 10 o'clock every day for a fixed number of people to come and fight for. A few days ago, when the restaurant was closed, this small program was also closed. At this time, many people on the internet were clamoring for Su Yiyan to reopen the restaurant and reopen the reservation program. However, Su Yiyan didn't intend to strike while the iron was hot and immediately reopen the restaurant. Instead, she planned to take advantage of the free time in the next few days to make a special meal for the employees of her man's company to thank them for their help this time and win their hearts at the same time. Hua Chenhuan heard her words and frowned. There are many people in these companies. Won't it be too tiring to cook for so many people? Although the companies managed by Zui Yanbai and the others didn't have many people in each company, there were still 300 to 400 people in total. This time, when they heard that they were going to help Su Yiyan, all of them tried their best to get familiar with Su Yiyan. Su Yiyan said that she wanted to make medicinal cuisine for the employees who helped her, so everyone in these companies would have to line up. Su Yiyan was slightly startled and smiled faintly. Why would I be tired? At most, I'll help them take a look. The details are still done by the employees in the restaurant. Hua Chenhuan's frown didn't relax because of this. Su Yiyan also seemed to think of something and looked embarrassed. But your concerns aren't unreasonable. Before, I promised that the employees in the restaurant would have employee benefits. Although the companies managed by Yanbai and the others were founded by you, they are now under my name. In that case, these companies are also my companies, and they are also my employees. The new employees in East City were all brought in by me using employee benefits. If they don't have such benefits, wouldn't they think that I'm biased? Su Yiyan's words unexpectedly calmed down Hua Chenhuan's mood, making his tense expression relax a little. They won't have any objections. Even if they don't mind, I still feel bad. Including this time, this group of little cuties who hid their achievements and fame had helped her several times. His own family members wanted to eat medicinal cuisine to nourish their bodies, yet it was so difficult. How stingy of a black-hearted boss. Hua Chenhuan pondered for a moment and suggested, take some time out this time to make a medicinal diet for them. In the future, as long as they are not seriously ill, we will look at their performance. Once a week, one team per department. The best performing staff will be rewarded. Su Yiyan blinked and quickly understood the meaning of Hua Chenhuan's words. She laughed and scolded. You are a profiteer. This rule was like a carrot dangling in front of a mule. If it was done well, they wouldn't have to line up to eat the medicinal cuisine that they dreamed of. In the future, wouldn't the employees in each department have to grit their teeth and strive for performance? Under such an atmosphere, why would he worry that the company couldn't make money? It was obviously an indirect move to squeeze the employees. In the end, these employees might be grateful to him, the black-hearted boss, and praise the company's benefits. Calling him a profiteer was not wrong at all. Chapter 409. Hua Chenhuan didn't care. He pulled Su Yiyan to sit on his lap and smiled. I have a more unscrupulous proposal. Do you want to hear it? What? In a month or two it will be the annual recruitment day. In the past, the company would add some new blood, but there weren't many who really met the requirements. This year, with the benefits I just mentioned, we might be able to recruit some unexpected talents. Hua Chenhuan wasn't exaggerating. Although there weren't many people in these companies, most of them were elites in the industry. They could quickly take over the work as soon as they entered the company and did practical work. Because of this high threshold, even if the company's benefits had always been better than other companies in the industry, they might not be able to recruit many new people in a year. Now that there were benefits that other companies couldn't have, there might be a small explosion of surprise in this year's recruitment. Su Yiyan was stunned. She said with anger and amusement, your reaction is fast. Seeing that I used this condition to attract the company's artists, you immediately used the family's company. You really are an unscrupulous businessman who has been in the business world for many years. Hua Chenhuan didn't refute. He just looked at her with a faint smile and asked, you don't like unscrupulous businessmen? Su Yiyan wrapped her arms around his neck. She stared at him for a while, then suddenly leaned over and pecked his lips. Unscrupulous businessmen, unscrupulous businessmen. Although it's a little bad, as long as it's you I like it. Su Yiyan waved her hand and said excitedly, let's do it this way. We'll bring all the fat fish to our company and let the other companies be jealous. Dun-Dun, who had been eating tons of dog food at home these past few days, quietly passed by and looked at his inexplicably excited master with a confused face. His master had become less intelligent since she married the dog's father. Sure enough, it wasn't unreasonable for humans to say that love would affect one's IQ. Su Yiyan, who didn't know that she was despised by the dog, finally remembered the main purpose of her coming here. Uncle Zhang has finished decorating that room these few days. Do you want to go in and take a look? Su Yiyan was talking about the rehabilitation room that he had asked Uncle Zhang to decorate a few days ago. The room was located at the end of the corridor on the second floor. According to Uncle Zhang, this room was originally Hua Chenhuan's toy room when she was young. It was more spacious than the other rooms, and it was perfect for storing the rehabilitation equipment. However, many of the things in this room were personally arranged by old Madame Hua before Hua Chenhuan was born. In order to move the rehabilitation equipment in, she was afraid that she would have to empty the room first. Because of this, Su Yiyan specially ran over to take a look at the layout of the room. In the spacious house, both the walls and the floor were covered with blue and white foam boards to prevent the children from falling and injuring themselves. There were small slides, swings, and even seesaws and other amusement facilities. Just by looking at every little detail in this house, one could see how the former owner of this house looked forward to the day when he would finally meet his child. Su Yiyan learned from Uncle Zhang that ever since Hua Chenhuan's parents passed away, he had never entered this room again. After asking this question, her heart was in her throat. Fortunately, Hua Chenhuan was only silent for a few seconds before she answered in a hoarse voice, "Okay." Chapter 410. No one visited the house all year round. Even if someone was in charge of cleaning, it was inevitable that the house would be less lively. Especially at this moment. The toys that were full of memories in the house had all been moved out and replaced with cold rehabilitation equipment, which made the house look even more deserted. Su Yiyan had been paying attention to Hua Chunhuan's reaction since she entered the house. Seeing that he didn't show any signs of rejection except for being a little absent-minded, she was slightly relieved. I've asked Uncle Zhang to move the things in this room to the next room. When you're better, we'll move them back. Hearing this, Hua Chunhuan's expression changed a little. He shook his head and said no need. Why not? She's gone. Hua Chunhuan's slightly lowered eyelashes trembled. And I'm not a child anymore. You're not, but there will be other children in our house in the future. Hua Chunhuan was stunned and realized the meaning of Su Yiyan's words. His voice became hoarse. Other children? Su Yiyan's small face blushed slightly. She lowered her head slightly to avoid his eyes. There will always be. What responded to her was a long silence in the house. Just when Su Yiyan thought this was over, she suddenly heard Hua Chunhuan's low laughter. Su Yiyan's whole body trembled, and a touch of bright red floated to her cheeks. This embarrassment didn't last long. Su Yiyan took a deep breath and leaned next to Hua Chunhuan's wheelchair. She gently held his hand and brought the topic back to the beginning. Your mother must be a very gentle and warm person. The smile in Hua Chunhuan's eyes didn't disappear. He softly corrected her. She's our mother. Yes, our mother. Hua Chunhuan was silent for a moment and suddenly gave a surprising answer. You're very similar to her. Su Yiyan was shocked. How so? In fact, until now, she only knew that Hua Chunhuan had liked her for many years, but she didn't know when he fell in love with her or why he loved her so much. Hearing his words, Su Yiyan's heart skipped a beat, and a particularly melodramatic thought unconsciously appeared in his mind. Could it be that this guy had some kind of Oedipus complex and saw that she resembled his mother, so he transferred his affection to her and fell in love with her? You're right. She's very gentle and warm. In my eyes, you are the same. Hua Chunhuan took Su Yiyan's hand and kissed it. Mom is Dad's light, and you are mine. When my whole world was cold without any warmth, it was like the sun had suddenly jumped out from behind the dark clouds, bringing light and warmth to him in the darkness. The only difference was that what his mother gave him was boundless tolerance and love. Like the dense moonlight, it was gentle and didn't possess any lethality. Su Yiyan, on the other hand, was like a fire. From the moment she appeared, she completely took away his attention, making him willing to burn with her, just to leave this unforgettable warmth. Su Yiyan met Hua Chunhuan's eyes, and her heart trembled. She whispered, It's okay, it's okay. What's okay? Su Yiyan's expression stiffened and her eyes flickered. No, nothing. Su Yiyan knew that she couldn't escape, so she could only whisper. I thought. What did you think? You thought that I liked you because you resembled my mother? Su Yiyan. This was awkward. Chapter 411. When Hua Chunhuan saw her reaction, he already had an answer in his heart. He bent his finger and gently knocked her head. He really didn't know whether to be angry or laugh. What are you thinking about in that head of yours? Su Yiyan knew that she was in the wrong. She blushed slightly and didn't defend herself. Her eyes unconsciously drifted to the several rehabilitation facilities in the room. Since you're already here, do you want to try it? I think the things that Uncle Zhang found are pretty good. Practicing more should be good for your recovery. The expression on Hua Chunhuan's face was slightly stiff. He didn't speak for a long time. Su Yiyan stood in front of him. Her hand was raised in the air, but it wasn't held for a long time. This result surprised and worried Su Yiyan. What's wrong? Are you not feeling well? Or are you not ready? As soon as she finished speaking, her hand was held, and she was pulled over. Su Yiyan wasn't prepared. She was pulled over in an instant and sat on Hua Chunhuan's lap. She was facing him, and it looked like he was holding her in his arms. Chunhuan. Give me a little more time. His deep voice sounded beside her ear, and his breath also pounced on her ear, tickling her and bringing with it some heat. Su Yiyan's small face was slightly red. She said somewhat apologetically, "It's okay. I was too anxious. You can take your time." When Hua Chunhuan heard her say this, he pursed his lips. After a while he said, "I will cooperate, but I don't want to do it in front of you." Su Yiyan was stunned for a few seconds before she understood the meaning of Hua Chunhuan's words. Hua Chunhuan's leg had been injured for a few years. If he wanted to walk like a normal person, he would have to suffer some pain. Su Yiyan wanted to spend this time with him, but Hua Chunhuan had his own considerations. As a man, he hoped that his image in Su Yiyan's heart would always be lofty, calm, and omnipotent, and not a pitiful person who would become embarrassed and miserable because of pain and discomfort. Su Yiyan was silent for a long time. In the end, he chose to respect his decision and whispered, "Okay, I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you to stand up and walk in front of me." 2 days later, Yu Zian, Gu Xiaoyang, and their employees finally got to eat the boss's wife's medicinal cuisine that they had been longing for. Needless to say, after eating this medicinal diet for a period of time, the complexions of the employees of these companies were ruddy, and their entire appearance had undergone a huge change. This was especially true for the programmers in the technical department. After the balding situation had significantly improved, it was as if they had ushered in a second spring in their lives. Just as everyone was marveling at the miraculous medicinal cuisine, and secretly thinking about when they could ask their boss's wife to give them special treatment again, Yu Zian and the others accurately conveyed the reward rules that Hua Chunhuan had personally set to every employee. All of a sudden, the employees of these companies were in an uproar. They looked at their colleagues with burning eyes. The employees with the best performance would be able to eat the medicinal cuisine personally made by Mrs. Hua once a week. Boys and girls of the society would never admit defeat. For this reason, the work efficiency of the employees of these companies rose sharply that month, which led to the real-time income of the companies to double. When Su Yiyan received the notice of a huge sum of money again, she saw that there was an extra zero at the end of the number compared to the previous month. She couldn't help but curse again, "Profiteer." After cursing, she glanced at the string of attractive numbers and thought happily, "Profiteer is good, profiteer is wonderful. I love profiteers the most." Chapter 412. Shortly after the malicious business competition incident, the carnival opened again, which was unprecedented. Some of the patients' family members even went to the store in person, trying to find out who the mysterious store manager was by indirectly asking the staff for information. The things in the store were solved, but there were still many things waiting for Su Yiyan to deal with in Dongqing City. Luo Weibing persisted to the last day of the contract period in the original agency. Under the dissatisfied and angry eyes of his agent, he completely terminated the contract with the original agency. When I left, Chang Pu's face was very ugly, as if he was going to eat me alive. I'm worried that he will make trouble in the next few days. Luo Weibing's mood was complicated for his agent. When he was in the most difficult time, it was this man who found him, brought him into this strange circle, and gave him a meal. But it was also this man who almost pushed him to the point of no return. He owed him a favor, but he had been working for him all these years, and the benefits he brought to him were enough to repay the original kindness. It doesn't matter. It's okay for you to part on good terms. If he dares to hurt you, our Dongqing City is not easy to mess with. Su Yiyan didn't have a good impression of Luo Weibing's former agency, especially his former agent. If they really dared to mess with the people of Dongqing City, she would not be surnamed Su if she didn't bite off a piece of meat. How is Chi-Chi these days? Luo Weibing's sister's full name was Xue Siki. Su Yiyan began to treat her a week ago. Because her situation was a bit serious, it was an emergency. She needed to take some medicine for a while, and then eat a medicated diet to recuperate. Simple Chinese medicine was not the same as medicated diet. It was bitter and fishy. Adults might not be willing to drink it, let alone children. But the little girl was unexpectedly well-behaved. Whether she was pricked or drank the medicine, she didn't cry once, and even comforted her brother. She was also very kind to the little sister who pricked her, and made her drink the bitter medicine. She would softly call her sister Su Yiyan, and say thank you to her. She was so sensible that it made people's heart ache. Who didn't like a lovely baby? Su Yiyan was no exception. They had only met a few times, but she had already fallen in love with this little sister. At the mention of his sister, Luo Weibing's face softened a lot. He smiled and said, "She's much better now. She's much more energetic these days. I don't know if she's short of breath or short of breath. When I went to see her yesterday, she looked much better and could eat by herself." That's good. However, he still has to continue taking the medicine for a while. Children are weak and need more nourishment. Luo Weibing hurriedly nodded. I will keep an eye on her. Su Yiyan knew that Luo Weibing cared about his sister more than anyone else, so he didn't say anything more and pushed a document in front of him. This is... The company accepted a new advertisement for you. Game. Luo Weibing glanced at the first party and was surprised. Although there was no lack of artists in the industry who endorse games, compared to this, most artists obviously preferred to endorse electronic products or luxury products like jewelry. Luo Weibing's first reaction when he saw this endorsement contract was that the big boss signed him into the company and started to do it. But the next second, Su Yiyan's words completely put his guess out of the window. Yes, game endorsement, the first spokesperson of holographic game since ancient times. It should be worthy of your current position, right? Chapter 413. Holographic game? Luo Weibing's eyes shrank slightly. He was a little confused by this news. Su Yiyan saw his reaction and thought that he did not play games and did not know much about these things. She explained, to put it simply, you only need a gaming capsule or even a gaming helmet to put you in the game scene, as if you have really become a game character. In addition to not getting hurt or dying, it's like trying a second life that is completely different from reality. Luo Weibing was stunned and hurriedly said, I know what a holographic game is, I just surprised that this kind of thing that only existed in people's imagination before can become a reality. A little bit. Then this advertisement. I'm willing to take it. Su Yiyan was not surprised by this answer. That's good. By the way, you have a partner in this advertisement. Partner? Ooh. Shuekaiwei. Luo Weibing was stunned and felt a little guilty after he reacted. A few minutes ago, he suspected that Shuekaiwei signed him into the company and revealed the face of a capitalist. She would start to harm him for money. As a result, not only did Shuekaiwei not do this, but she also gave him a good resource. She even lent her own movie queen to help him fight the first battle after transferring to the company. In the final analysis, he gauged Shuekaiwei's heart with his own mean measure. Shuekaiwei has been accepted. Considering that I'm not sure if you two have any unpleasant history before, I came to confirm it with you first. Can you accept to take this advertisement and partner with her? Su Yiyan didn't have the habit of forcing others. Such a good resource was given to anyone. If the two couldn't get along with each other, and made a lot of things during the shooting and even after, wouldn't she, as the boss, have a hard time? Yes. With such a considerate boss, Luo Weibing finally settled down and nodded. I cooperated with her once before, but I didn't have much contact with her and we didn't have any conflicts. Then it's settled. Su Yiyan said and seemed to think of something. In addition, the company is going to invest in a Xianxia movie based on the background story of this holographic game. When I think about it, I'll just let you two play it. Do you have any intention? It had only been an advertisement, and the movie had already been scheduled. His new boss was really swift and decisive. If it were an ordinary person who had just changed companies, it would be the time to express their loyalty to their boss. If they were given resources right away, they would definitely be grateful, not to mention rejecting them. But Luo Weibing wasn't sure what kind of movie it was, and whether the script was good or not. He didn't dare to promise casually. Secondly, he was still worried about his sister. Su Yiyan saw his hesitation and comforted him. It's okay. This is just a proposal. The specific script still needs to be perfected. It won't be too late for you to decide after you read the script. Dongcheng City had several IP plans recently, and this holographic game background adaptation was just one of them. If Luo Weibing is really unwilling to take this script, it will be the same to change something else. She is a wise and democratic boss. Previously, when the medicinal cuisine house was slandered by the internet water army, apart from Hua Chenhuan and a few other companies' technical staff, a large portion of the audience in her live streaming room was also contributed the most. Most of them were girls. For this reason, Su Yiyan decided to do a special live broadcast to thank the audience for their enthusiastic protection. Chapter 414. The female viewers in Su Yiyan's livestream went crazy with joy. Am I hallucinating because I'm too tired these days? The streamer is actually going to make a special medicinal cuisine for our female compatriots. Sob sob sob, I've been waiting for this day for so long. After the bald man's party, my aunt's party will finally see the light of day again? I'm so moved that I'm crying. The girls excitedly ran around to spread the news, but the male viewers were full of resentment. Don't be so sexist. This time, the streamer's shop was scolded, and we also helped the streamer fight against those trash water army. You can't ignore us just because we're few in number. That's right, the streamer shouldn't only look at those delicate girls. The toe-picking hunks also need to be pampered. I feel the malice the streamer has towards the male viewers. I beg the streamer to love our male compatriots again. Before Su Yiyan started the live stream, she knew that some people might be dissatisfied after the content was released, so she didn't panic. Of course, I'm not ignoring you guys. It's just that there are more female compatriots, so I'll take care of them first. When there's a chance next time, I'll make another batch of medicinal cuisine related to male compatriots. After Su Yiyan said that, the male viewers who were screaming miserably on the screen finally quieted down and focused on watching the live stream. The female viewers were more concerned about whether Su Yiyan's live stream today would involve menstrual pain. After all, many of the female viewers in Su Yiyan's live stream were attracted by the two female bloggers in the first place. There are actually many reasons for menstrual pain. I've already made a few medicinal cuisines that have a certain effect on menstrual pain. These medicinal cuisines are sold in physical stores now. Today, I'll make a few different ones. In addition, I'll make a few medicinal cuisines that nourish blood and nourish skin, help with weight loss and sleep, slimming face and removing acne, and breast enlargement and so on. Su Yiyan's face was slightly red, and she paused before continuing. Friends who are interested can take a look. After a while, I'll draw a prize according to the old rules. Those who don't draw a prize can also go to the physical store to eat. As soon as Su Yiyan said that, the comments in the live stream suddenly went blank for a few seconds, and then a blowout of comments erupted. F***CK, the host's medicinal cuisine can not only cure menstrual cramps but also help with weight loss? This is too exaggerated. Oh my god, is there finally hope for a fatty like me, who can become as fat as a balloon just by drinking water and nutrient solutions? I suspect that the host is revealing my private life. The secret of my airport can't be hidden anymore? There's actually a medicinal cuisine that can slimmer one's face. Pancake Face really can't afford to be hurt. He's not fat anywhere else, but when the weather turns cold, he'll have a fat face if he drinks more nutrient fluids. As a pimple sufferer who gets pimple whenever the weather is dry or if he stays up late, he really needs this. The suffering insomnia party is asking for help. Every night, they would be especially energetic and would be forced to stay up until the latter half of the night. Their dark circles and eye bags would almost reach their chins, and their skin would become yellow and rough. If this goes on, I feel like I might die at any time. What Su Yiyan had just said was extremely accurate, and it poked at the endless troubles of these young people. Seeing so many comments, Su Yiyan knew that she had chosen the right thing to do today. She took a deep breath and smiled faintly. Whether it's really effective or not, you'll only know after you try it. Alright, let's not talk nonsense. Let's start today's live stream. Chapter 415. The discussion on the screen continued to pass by, but Su Yiyan had already focused on the medicinal cuisine she was going to make today. Today I'll make a few soups, a few porridge, a few stir-fried dishes, and desserts and juice. As soon as Su Yiyan's voice fell, many viewers in the live broadcast room couldn't help but swallow their saliva. as if they could already imagine how delicious these things would be when they were made. The soup will take a long time. Let's make the soup first. The first dish Su Yiyan made was fragrant tofu loach soup. Tofu could not only detoxify, but also moisturize the skin. It was good for the skin for girls to eat more. Loach was not only antibacterial and anti-inflammatory, but also could help to remove acne marks. With some fragrant tofu, red dates, and broth, it could not only nourish the liver and improve qi, but also beautify the skin. The second soup was wolfberry leaf pig liver soup. Su Yiyan had previously made wolfberry leaf porridge with wolfberry leaf, and pig liver. Wolfberry leaf was not used in this soup, but astragalus and radix polygonatum. These two herbs nourished the liver. Not only could it improve the eyesight, but it also had a significant effect on dark circles, bags, and other problems. The last dish, tremella, papaya, and crucian carp soup, was a little more troublesome. First, the fish needed to be fried, then the tremella, papaya, and some red dates were added into the pot to stew. Tremella was a particularly nourishing Chinese herb for girls. Eating more of it could not only nourish the lungs, but also improve the symptoms of yellow complexion caused by the deficiency of qi and blood. Papaya had a certain breast enlargement effect. Stewing it with crucian carp and tremella had a certain therapeutic effect on girls with breast dysplasia. Almost half an hour had passed by the time Su Yiyan finished cooking these soups. When she looked up, she saw that the screen was full of requests for the medicinal cuisine to lose weight. Obviously, someone had gone out to publicize it and called those fat people, who were suffering from obesity. Su Yiyan really didn't expect there to be so many fat people in this era, where people basically ate nutrient solutions, and only occasionally had the opportunity to go to high-end restaurants to have a sumptuous meal. It was also because most of the people around her had good figures. The only chubby one seemed to be her family's Dundun. This little fatty had been eating well for the past few months, so he had gained a lot of weight. Now he was already a solid ball. Occasionally, she would feel her hands getting sore from carrying him for too long. It was not a good idea to continue being so fat. It seemed that he had to control its diet. Dundun, who was inexplicably implicated and about to face a reduced meal. Sure enough, now that he had a little fairy, he didn't want this big treasure anymore. Even his rations had to be deducted. It was really too difficult for him. The soup is ready. Since everyone is curious about the diet, let's make a few diet dishes. The first one was black rice, red bean, and coconut porridge. Red beans had the effect of slimming. Eating red beans could not only replenish blood, but also slimmer face and slimmer legs. Moreover, red bean porridge can be eaten as a staple food. It's easy to fill your stomach, and under the premise of slimming down, you won't go hungry. To lose weight, one did not have to diet like those celebrities who needed to lose weight in a short period of time. Eating some food that could fill one's stomach, but was not high in calories, could also play a certain role. However, the effect was often not immediate and needed to be sustained for a period of time. This meant that the person needed a certain amount of endurance and self-control to not eat anything else while eating these foods. Chapter 4:16. Black rice has the effect of hair growth, and is also one of the miscellaneous grains. It is not easy to get fat after eating it. It can also treat hair problems while losing weight. It's killing two birds with one stone. After cooking the two together, some coconut juice and shredded orange peel were added. The porridge's fragrance instantly became rich. The second diet meal was fresh bamboo shoots and konjac noodles. Konjac had a very significant filling effect like miscellaneous grains. Corn bamboo shoots and water bamboo shoots were relatively low in calories. Together with the medicinal juice made from rhubarb and licorice, it could not only reduce weight but also improve immunity. Finally, there was a celery vegetable juice. It was juice made from celery, tomatoes, and grapefruit, with some fructose or honey added. When this vegetable juice was released, there were different voices. People who liked it very much, but there were also many people who did not like it. This vegetable juice is a bit unpalatable. It tastes a bit like nutrient solution. It's not the flavor I like. I think it's not bad. It's refreshing. If it was chilled in summer, I feel like I can drink a big cup in one go. Su Yiyan did not care too much about this. There were some differences in taste, especially when celery was added to the juice. Some people did not like this taste very much. After making some soup and porridge, Su Yiyan began to heat up the wok to cook. The first dish was braised pork trotters. Pork trotters were rich in collagen. Eating more of it could make the skin smooth and white. It could also help to remove the acne marks left behind by acne. Before this, Su Yiyan had simply processed the pork trotters. He blanched them once and marinated them with soy sauce and cooking wine for half an hour. It was just ready to be put into the wok. The previous few soups and porridge were slow stews. They had to be simmered slowly to bring out the fragrance of the food. This dish was different. As soon as it was put into the wok, a fragrant smell floated out. After seasonings such as star anise and cinnamon were added, it was as fragrant as the previous braising ingredients. It caused a heated discussion as soon as it was taken out of the wok. I have seen pork trotters in high-class restaurants before. They are usually used to stew soup. My mother ordered it once. I took a bite out of curiosity and felt that the taste was a bit strong. I always felt that it was not clean and did not particularly like it. But the host's pork trotters are really amazing. The unpleasant smell is not mentioned. It's especially chewy and flavorful. I feel like I can eat a lot of white rice with this. This pork trotters taste a bit similar to the braised food the host made before, but it's especially chewy. Especially the juice in it. It's mixed with noodles and rice. A. Steaming. D. When Su Yiyan made the pumpkin cup, he did not peel off the outer skin. Instead, he engraved a slightly complicated and beautiful pattern. It made the originally ordinary pumpkin cup inexplicably eye-catching. The steamed pumpkin was soft and tender. Paired with the refreshing lily, it was really good-looking and delicious. It captured the hearts of many girls in an instant. Chapter 417. Compared to the steamed pumpkin lily, the papaya with rock sugar attracted less attention. Su Yiyan smiled and touched her nose. She was a little embarrassed as she said, "Papaya has the effect of moisturizing the lungs, relieving coughing and digestion. It can also enrich the breasts. Girls who have problems in this area can try to make some at home. As you just saw, it's not difficult to make." As soon as Su Yiyan said this, the messages on the screen suddenly went blank for a few seconds. Then a few sparse messages flashed past. From the words, one could feel their cautiousness. "I feel like I shouldn't talk at this time. If I do, I'll be exposed. Even if you don't say it, you're still a good friend. I'm not talking anymore. I'm going to look for papaya and rock sugar. Although I don't like papaya very much, but..." Everyone had a tacit understanding of what was omitted after the ellipsis. No one pointed it out. Su Yiyan coughed softly and drew everyone's attention back to her. "Okay, let's do the lucky draw next. We'll draw one lucky audience member for each item." The lucky draw in the live broadcast room had always been very fast. In less than 5 minutes, the winners jumped out one by one. Su Yiyan glanced at it and suddenly realized that something was wrong. Ever since the last lucky draw, she accidentally discovered that some male audience members deliberately registered female accounts to compete for the lucky draw slots. After taking advantage of this loophole, Hu Chenhuan asked Yu Zian to make some small changes to the user accounts. Now, whether the audience members in the live broadcast room left a message or were selected from the lucky draw, there would be a small sign in front of the name that indicated the user's gender. At a glance, people could tell whether the user was male or female. Moreover, the gender on the website account had to be the same as the gender on the registration certificate. Otherwise, it wouldn't be approved. At this time, Su Yiyan saw an account with a male name in the group of female accounts. She blinked in surprise. "What's going on? Ming Ming Ruin? This audience member with the ID, Ming Ming Ruin. Did you click on it by mistake? If it were other medicinal cuisines for sleeping, weight loss, and black hair, it would be fine. However, this audience member just happened to get rock sugar papaya. Could it be that he also needed?" Su Yiyan had a flash of inspiration in his mind. He suddenly grasped a corner of the truth. He had to have a big chest. The other spectators also noticed this, and began to manually at this male compatriot, who had mistakenly entered the country of women to quickly hand over the medicinal cuisine. Hey, there's a man here. Sisters, quickly catch him and make him hand over the food. Mingming Ruin. Brother, did you accidentally click on the wrong button? Didn't the streamer say she was going to cook for her female compatriots? Mingming Ruin. Taking a closer look, this person seems to have drawn. Cough cough, you really don't need this. It would be a waste to take it. Hurry up and hand it over. Can I buy it with 5,000 coins? Mingming Ruin. 5,500. Come over here and take a look at me. Mingming Ruin. 6,000 no more. Mingming Ruin. 6,600. That's an auspicious number. 7,000. A good condemnation suddenly turned into a live auction. At first, this person pretended to be dead and didn't want to respond. Later, perhaps because too many people at him, he finally popped up. Mingming Ruin not selling. We don't lack money at home. Thank you. The food is for my wife. I didn't order it by mistake. The audience. The single dog felt a critical hit from the couple. Su Yiyan. Okay. Chapter 418. While Su Yiyan was busy giving gifts to the lucky viewers, Hua Chenhuan was also busy questioning Yu Zian. Why did Yin Yan get a mail account in the lucky draw in her live stream? Yu Zian looked confused and said carefully, Young master, you forgot. After you and young madam got married, you removed the restriction of only drawing mail accounts in young madam's live broadcast room. Hua Chenhuan. He really forgot. After the two of them got married, Su Yiyan did not know if it was intentional or not, but there was one time when she suddenly mentioned during dinner that the audience in her livestream lucky draw seemed to be mostly women, and there were not many men. There were a few episodes where she talked about baldness and certain men's hidden ailments. Looking at the comments, those male viewers seemed to be in urgent need of it, but it seemed like all the female accounts were drawn. It was also possible that some men had strong self-esteem and were too embarrassed to fight for their ailments. But those people who were begging on the screen didn't even participate in the lucky draw. Something was really wrong. When Hua Chenhuan heard Su Yiyan's words, his heart suddenly skipped a beat, and he felt inexplicably guilty. In order to protect his little secret, Hua Chenhuan generously removed the unspoken rule of only drawing female accounts in the live broadcast room. Since they were married, he could eat 3 meals cooked by his wife every day, so he wouldn't lower himself to the level of those lucky viewers who fought for it. Now that he saw Su Yiyan's live broadcast room draw a male account again, Hua Chenhuan realized that he wasn't as generous as he thought. If it was only the ones in the shop that Su Yiyan instructed and made by someone else, it would be fine. But she made it herself, and he was already a little unhappy that she gave it to the female viewers, let alone these stinky men who didn't know the details. Change it back. What? Change the previous setting back. Yu Zian's expression stiffened, and he probed. You mean change the setting of only drawing male accounts in young madam's live broadcast room? You have a problem with that? No. This was a familiar question, a familiar atmosphere. How could he dare to say no? After getting a satisfactory answer, Hua Chenhuan hung up the phone directly. As Yu Zian listened to the busy tone on the other end of the line, he really couldn't understand why his young master had suddenly made such a fuss. He could only sigh silently in his heart. Married men were really fickle. Su Yiyan made so many nourishing dishes at once. She definitely couldn't finish them all by herself. She packed a portion for Cheng Xiuqin and gave the rest to the maids in the house who needed it. She only kept a few dishes that suited her taste. When Hua Chenhuan came down, she immediately saw the braised pork trotters, black rice, red bean and coconut congee, and papaya with rock sugar. As soon as Su Yiyan looked up, she saw Hua Chenhuan staring at her with a slightly indescribable and curious gaze. She couldn't help but have a few question marks in her mind. Then, she saw Hua Chenhuan's gaze move down stiffly, drifting to her. A deathly silence and awkwardness spread between the two of them. In the end, the first to admit defeat was actually Hua Chenhuan. He quickly averted his gaze, picked up the bowl, and looked at the dishes on the table as if nothing had happened. However, his burning ears betrayed his true thoughts at that moment. Su Yiyan. What was going on? Shouldn't she be the one being shy at a time like this? Why are you being shy? Chapter 419. Su Yiyan's eyes turned slightly. She held her chin and said with a faint smile, I just saw a post on the internet. It's quite interesting. Hua Chenhuan's hand suddenly paused. What post? A discussion post about whether boys like girls with big breasts or girls with small breasts. Hua Chenhuan's spoon hit the bowl with a clang. The bright red that stopped at the tip of her ears suddenly spread to her cheeks and neck. Don't look at these useless posts. Su Yiyan suppressed her laughter and said smoothly. It's indeed useless, but I'm very curious. What? Do you like girls with big breasts or girls with small breasts? Hua Chenhuan's mind went blank. When she looked up, she met Su Yiyan's teasing gaze. She knew that someone was deliberately teasing her. While it was funny, she also felt a little embarrassed. You're very good like this. Su Yiyan was slightly stunned. Then her eyes curved slightly. She dragged her voice and said, Oh, I understand. Hua Chenhuan. Understood? Understood what? Just by listening to her tone, Hua Chenhuan was sure that what she said was definitely not what he thought. However, no matter how curious she was, Hua Chenhuan did not dare to ask in detail. She was afraid that Su Yiyan would say something shocking again, and she would not be able to handle it. Uncle Zhang, who was standing not far away, listened to the young couple's conversation, and could not help but smile kindly. Young couples should often tease each other. Only by bickering could their relationship warm up and not separate. As an old man, he found it interesting to see such a young couple. The two of them had dinner peacefully. Hua Chenhuan suddenly asked, Do you have anything to do tomorrow night? Nothing. Su Yiyan basically went home after work. What's wrong? Then accompany me out tomorrow night. Out? To do what? Su Yiyan was a little surprised. Hua Chenhuan actually took the initiative to say that she wanted to go out. Could it be that she wanted to go on a date with her? To attend a birthday banquet. Su Yiyan was stunned. Birthday banquet? Whose birthday banquet? It's the birthday banquet of the old master of the Lan family. Hua Chenhuan was afraid that Su Yiyan did not understand, and then explained, Mr. Lan and my father have been friends for many years. When Uncle Zhang heard this, he also chimed in. Master and the Lan family's master were high school friends. When Master and Madam were alive, the relationship between the two families was very good. After the two of them passed away, only the Lan family took good care of the young master. Tomorrow is old Master Lan's 70th birthday. It's reasonable for young master and young madam to congratulate him. When he said that, Su Yiyan understood. Hua Chenhuan's parents had handed over the Hua Corporation to Hua Qihan before they died. Hua Chenhuan's legs were like that, so she had obviously been abandoned. Businessmen valued profits. Some of the so-called partners who had gathered because of profits naturally knew who to please and who to belittle at this time. Who didn't know how to add flowers to a brocade. People's hearts could only be seen when charcoal was in snowy weather. This Lan family was indeed very righteous to help Hua Chenhuan under such circumstances, and take care of this orphan of an old friend. No wonder Hua Chenhuan, who didn't like to go out, wanted to attend this old man's birthday banquet in person. Su Yiyan understood and felt a little distressed at the same time. Every time she thought about how Hua Chenhuan had endured in the past few years, she couldn't help but feel sad and regretful that she hadn't met him earlier. Chapter 420. If that's the case, then we should go over to celebrate his birthday. Su Yiyan seemed to have thought of something and said anxiously, Then the gift. Uncle Zhang smiled and said, Young madam, you don't have to worry about that. Young master has already prepared the gift. That's good. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief. Then I'll come back early tomorrow and accompany you to celebrate Master Lan's birthday. Hua Chenhuan looked at the two of them holding hands, and smiled slightly. She replied in a low voice, Okay. The next afternoon, Su Yiyan got off work an hour early, and went home to accompany Hua Chenhuan to pick out clothes for the evening. In the end, She chose a sapphire blue suit for him, and a dress of the same color for herself. They looked like a couple's outfits. Uncle Zhang couldn't help nodding when he saw what Hua Chenhuan was wearing. His young master was only 26 years old this year, and was still young. Wearing bright colors would make him look more energetic. Wearing those dark formal suits all day long made him look like an old man. It was a waste of his young master's face, which had once attracted countless girls. The young couple wore the couple's outfits and happily went to the Lan family's small villa in the suburbs. When they arrived, there were already many people inside. As soon as Su Yiyan pushed Hua Chenhuan through the door, many people stopped talking and turned to look at them. Su Yiyan frowned slightly. He was worried that Hua Chenhuan wouldn't be used to these people's explicit stares. Then he heard Hua Chenhuan say gently, "Uncle Lan and Auntie are over there. Let's go over and say hello to them first." Su Yiyan saw that he didn't show any discomfort with the stares, and was slightly relieved. He pushed him in the direction he pointed. Master Lan was 70 years old this year. Although his hair was a little white, he was still in good spirits and his body was quite strong. When he saw Hua Chenhuan coming over, his eyes lit up and he said with a smile, "Young Master Hua is here." Master Lan was from the same generation as Hua Chenhuan's father, so it was reasonable for him to call him young master. However, it was obvious that he was close and fond of Hua Chenhuan. What was more, Hua Chenhuan was also willing to respond to him. "Uncle Lan's birthday today. As a junior, it would be rude if I didn't come to say some auspicious words to you." The blue old man smiled, but there seemed to be tears in his eyes. "If I had known that I would be able to call you out on my birthday, I would have done it a few years earlier." Everyone present understood that he was just teasing. If it had been Hua Chenhuan from a few years ago, even if it was his birthday, Hua Chenhuan might not have come in person even though he would have sent gifts. The real reason he changed. Madame Lan patted her husband's hand and looked at Su Yiyan. She said with a smile, "Is this Miss Su?" Su Yiyan was suddenly called. He hurried to Hua Chenhuan's side and politely said, "Hello, madam. My husband and Chenhuan's father were good friends. If you don't mind, you can call me Aunt Yi like Chenhuan." Hua Chenhuan was his father's son when he was old. He was basically a generation older than his peers. If Su Yiyan called her Aunt Yi like other people, he would be a generation younger. Following her advice, he called out, "Aunt Yi." Old Madame Lan happily agreed. "When you two got married, us two old fellows couldn't personally go to see you. It's a pity. However, we both believe in Chenhuan's judgment. We know you must be a good child." Chapter 421. Su Yiyan and Hua Chenhuan's wedding was held on a private island. The two elders were too old to take a boat, so they only asked their son and daughter-in-law to go. When they came back, they only said that Hua Chenhuan was very happy. The way he looked at the bride was very gentle. He was like a beast that had lost control and put away his claws and fangs. He became harmless and gentle. When the two elders first heard the rumors outside, they were a little worried about the marriage between the two of them. But when they heard their son and daughter-in-law say so, they were relieved. Although Hua Chenhuan was not their child, they had watched him grow up after all. If he didn't really like Miss Su, even if they were forced to be together, he would not be kind to her. Su Yiyan heard her implicit praise and blushed. She was a little embarrassed. Hua Chenhuan took the initiative to hold her hand. His eyes were full of smiles. Obviously, he agreed with old Madame Lan's words. Old Master Lan saw their small movements and nodded with a smile. "I'm relieved to see you like this. Old Hua and sister-in-law will definitely be happy for you when they see you like this." As soon as old Master Lan said this, the atmosphere between them suddenly became cold. Old Madame Lan was the first to react. She raised her hand and hit him on the back of his head. "Why are you talking about this?" Su Yiyan. Did they start to hit him because of a disagreement? Hua Chenhuan and the younger generation of the Lan family beside the two elders seemed to be used to this. They looked as if they were saying, "Oh, Grandpa Dad has been hit again." Old Master Lan touched the back of his head and said timidly, "Save me some face in front of the child." Old Madame Lan snorted. "Is face for others to save for you? You are so disrespectful in front of the child. You deserve to lose face." she said and pulled Old Master Lan's ear. Old Master Lan was scared and hid. Several of the younger generation of the Lan family saw that their grandfather was in trouble and hurried to persuade him. Su Yiyan and Hua Chenhuan were squeezed out. This. Su Yiyan blinked her eyes in confusion. Hua Chenhuan couldn't help but laugh. Uncle Lan was famous for being a henpecked husband when he was young. No matter if it was at home or outside, he was always obedient to Aunt Yi. But no matter how noisy they are truly in love with each other. It has been like a day for decades. After the initial surprise, Su Yiyan also saw something from the old man's quarrel. Generally speaking, it was impossible for a man to lose to a woman. Old Madame Lan doesn't look like a particularly good person, but Old Master Lan can do it without fighting back, scolding without talking back. In the end, it's because of love. Moreover, if you look carefully, you will find that Old Madame Lan hit him, but she never hit him too hard. Although Old Master Lan wailed, there was no dissatisfaction or anger in his eyes. There was only a smile and indulgence. Jealous. Su Yiyan was shocked and turned to look at Hua Chenhuan by reflex. As soon as the servant met his smiling eyes, she snorted and threatened, "If you make me angry in the future, I will hit you like she did." "Okay, I promise I won't fight back." Su Yiyan frowned and said with dissatisfaction, "Shouldn't you say you won't make me angry at this time?" Hua Chenhuan. "What a mistake." "Yes, I promise I won't make you angry in the future." "That's more like it." Several of the younger generation of the Lan family, who wanted to step forward to stop the fight, but happened to hear the conversation between the two. "This is too much. We just ate the old man's dog food and now we have to eat yours. Do single dogs have no human rights?" Chapter 422. After the commotion caused by Old Madame Lan, the atmosphere between them returned to its original harmony. When the people on the other side saw this scene, they were not in a good mood like Su Yiyan and the others. "What's wrong with Old Master Lan? We came to celebrate his birthday out of kindness, but he's so nice. He ignores us, but he's very enthusiastic about Hua Chenhuan, and that little b*tch. Hua Chihan listened to his wife's complaints, and his face was as black as the bottom of a pot. Chenhuan is a family Hua after all. Father was so close to Old Master Lan when he was alive, and Chenhuan is like that now. It's inevitable that he'll care more about him. Why are you shouting so loudly? If others hear you, they'll think that we can't tolerate him." Mrs. Hua choked, but she still felt a little uncomfortable. "He's a family Hua, but aren't you? Touch your conscience and tell me, was their attitude towards us the same as their attitude towards those two people?" Hua Chihan's face became uglier after being choked by his wife. Mrs. Hua was not in the mood to care about his feelings. When they came to the Lan family before, they had never met Hua Chenhuan. Naturally, they didn't know that the Lan family's attitude toward them was so different from when they faced Hua Chenhuan. Now that they knew, they definitely felt uncomfortable. In addition, too many things had happened at home in the past month or two. Their moods were at a critical point, and they could explode completely. Mrs. Hua looked at the various people coming and going at the banquet, and felt that everyone was looking at them strangely. She tugged at Hua Chihan's sleeve and said suspiciously, "Do you think they already know that Xiaofeng has been kicked out of the Hua family, so they're hitting us when we're down and deliberately ignoring us? Have these guys forgotten how they licked their faces and begged you to cooperate with them?" Enough. Hua Chihan finally couldn't help but shout. During this time, he was most annoyed that Hua Xiaofeng had been kicked out of his company. He was the person in charge and the decision-maker of the company, but his only son was targeted by the board of directors and directly kicked out of his own company. This was a great humiliation to him. Now, who didn't say that he didn't teach his son well? It was fine that his son's private life was messy, but he didn't have any ability. He had been in the company for less than half a year, and was dissuaded by his own board of directors. What a joke. When Hua Chihan now thought about it, he wished that he didn't have such a son, and he was also dissatisfied with his wife. If she hadn't spoiled him since he was a child, would his son? Will you become mute if you don't speak? Hua Chihan's SSSS. Hua Chihan's SSS. Hua Qihan glared at her fiercely. He suppressed his anger and asked, "Where's Xiaofeng? And where did he?" "I just said that I wasn't feeling well, so I went out to get some fresh air." "Get some fresh air?" Hua Qihan's face darkened. "Why are you running around in someone else's house? Don't tell me he went to look for that woman again?" Mrs. Hua's expression changed when she heard this. "No. No way. Who knows? It's not the first time he's messed up a good thing. Hurry up and go find him. If you find him in contact with that woman again, tell him to get out of my sight. I don't have a son like him." Chapter 423. Mrs. Hua opened her mouth, but did not say anything in the end. If it had been someone else, she might have been able to defend Hua Xiaofeng. But now that that woman was involved, not to mention Hua Qihan, even his mother suspected that the woman had put a curse on her son. He had suffered so many losses at her hands. She and her husband had also threatened him that if he had any contact with that woman again, they would cut ties with him. But he still did as he pleased. Had they really spoiled him so much over the years that he was fearless? Or was he sure that he was their only son, and could not do anything to him? Mrs. Hua was full of anger, but she could not really admit that her son was stupid. So, she put all her resentment on Wen Jingping. In the original novel, Mrs. Hua did not have a good impression of Wen Jingping, the heroine from a poor family. She felt that she was not worthy of her son. Now, Wen Jingping had dragged her down several times. Even her son's position as the heir had been removed. Mrs. Hua increasingly felt that this woman was a jinx. She was afraid that she would never accept such a daughter-in-law in the future. Family Hua and Mrs. Hua were losing their minds. They were almost angered to death. On the other hand, Hua Chunhuan and Hua Xiaofeng were enjoying the highest courtesy of the Lan family. Unfortunately, although Old Master Lan and Old Madam Lan liked Hua Chunhuan, they were old and did not have much energy. After a few more words with the two of them, she asked her son and daughter-in-law to help take care of them. When the men gathered together, most of the topics they could find to talk about were related to business. Mrs. Lan was worried that Su Yiyen would be bored listening to them, so she asked her daughter-in-law to take Su Yiyen to the side to eat something. Today, the Lan family's private chef was in charge of the food and beverage at the banquet. This chef was somewhat famous outside. Some of the people at the banquet had come because of his reputation. Therefore, it was not rude for the two of them to hide and eat at the side. Su Yiyen tried some of their snacks. He had to admit that this chef was quite capable. The food he made was much better than the chef's outside. "Is it to your taste?" Lan Foran's eldest daughter-in-law Yen Xiaoran saw that Su Yiyen had only taken a bite of the pastry before stopping, and asked with a faint smile. Su Yiyen seemed to have woken up from a dream. "It's quite delicious. Grandma's appetite isn't that good when the weather gets hot. If the food at home isn't good, she won't be able to eat." Su Yiyen understood instantly. No wonder the Lan family's chef was so good at cooking. If it wasn't so good, he might not have been able to enter their house. These men never stop talking once they start talking about serious matters. We can't even get a word in if we stay by their side. Why don't we come over and eat something first? You and Chenhuan didn't eat anything before coming here, did you? I came here in a hurry, so I ate some snacks that I made this morning. I'm not particularly hungry. You know how to make pastries too? Yen Xiaoran was a little surprised. I've learned a thing or two from my family's chef, but the taste is not as good as yours. Yen Xiaoran was quite confident in her family's chef's craftsmanship, but she was surprised. Your family's chef doesn't hide anything. Su Yiyen smiled and did not say anything. Just at this moment, a slightly familiar figure walked in from outside, attracting Yen Xiaoran's attention. Little Yi, come here. Yen Xiaoran waved at the young man not far away and called him over. Su Yiyen followed the sound and saw the person approaching. His eyes widened slightly and he was surprised. It's him. Chapter 424. Lan Jia walked up to Yen Xiaoran and greeted her flatteringly, sister-in-law. It's fine if it's any other day, but today is such an important day. Why did you come back so late and make the guests wait? Your brother and father are greeting the guests and have no time to talk to you. When they find out tomorrow, they'll definitely beat you up again. Sister-in-law. It's no use calling your mother. Tell me honestly, where did you go? Su Yiyin couldn't help but laugh when she heard Yin Xiaoran's words. Lan Jiaya then noticed that there was a girl beside his sister-in-law. He took a closer look and recognized Su Yiyin. It's you. Yin Xiaoran looked at Lan Jiaya, and then at Su Yiyin. You know each other? We've met once before. Yes. I met this lady at the streamer's shop before. There were no other empty seats in the shop, so I went over to share a table with her. Streamer? Yin Xiaoran thought for a moment and knew who Lan Jiaya was talking about. She looked at Su Yiyin with an inexplicable sense of friendliness. You're a fan of the streamer too? Su Yiyin laughed dryly and didn't say yes or no. Yin Xiaoran stared at her for a while and felt a little strange. Lan Jiaya didn't think much of it and said casually, I left in a hurry last time and didn't have time to ask for your name. I thought we wouldn't meet again, but I didn't expect to meet you again at my grandfather's birthday banquet. It's fate. Grandfather? Then the grandmother you mentioned before. She thought about how Lan Jiaya said his grandmother had a bad appetite, and how Yin Xiaoran said old Madame Lan couldn't eat when the weather was hot. She immediately understood. Su Yiyin touched her nose awkwardly and thought to herself, this is too much of a coincidence. The first audience she sent to her live streaming room happened to be a member of the Lan family. Yes, have you met my grandparents? Lan Jiaya asked and then remembered that he still didn't know Su Yiyin's name. You're a guest today too? You are. Before Lan Jiaya could finish his words, Yin Xiaoran stepped forward and introduced him. Little Yi, this is your Uncle He's wife. Based on seniority, you should call her aunt. Pfft. Su Yiyin almost choked on the pastry. No need. Just call me by my name. Although Su Yiyin had always used her status as an aunt to annoy Hua Xiaofeng, she was actually not used to being called an aunt by her peers. Lan Jiaya heaved a sigh of relief. That's great. I'm not used to addressing someone who's not much older than me as my aunt. Wouldn't that make her sound old? Jiaya. Yin Xiaoran yelled at him in disapproval. It's okay. My surname is Su, and my name is Yayan. Lan Jiaya's attention was instantly diverted. Yayan? Which Yan? Don't talk when eating or sleeping. Isn't that the streamer's Yan? What a coincidence. Su Yiyin's expression completely froze. She lowered her head and took a bite of the pastry to hide the guilt in her eyes. She laughed dryly and said, "Ha. It's quite a coincidence. At that time, I followed her because of her name. If she had known that such a day would come, she would not have been lazy to give herself such an ID name. No wonder." Lan Jiaya said casually and did not take it to heart. On the other hand, Yin Xiaoran heard Lan Jiaya's words and saw the change in Su Yiyin's expression. She suddenly thought of something and looked at Su Yiyin with a meaningful gaze. Chapter 425. Yin Xiaoran took a long look at Su Yiyin before returning to the original topic. You haven't told me where you went just now. She then added, Don't try to lie to me. You've been going out from time to time these past few days. Your brother already asked your classmates and friends. You didn't look for them when you went out. Where did you go? Lan Jiaya was only a few years younger than Yin Xiaoran and Lan Minghan. Yin Xiaoran didn't really want to interfere with Lan Jiaya's private life, but he had been going out too often recently, and his family had noticed that something was wrong. Although Lan Minghan didn't say anything, he was actually a little anxious. He was afraid that Lan Jiaya would learn bad things from some shady people, or that he didn't dare to tell them. That was why Yin Xiaoran wanted to take this opportunity to ask him properly. Lan Jiaya was a little embarrassed when he heard her words. He laughed foolishly and said, It's nothing. I just went to pick someone up. Pick someone up? Yin Xiaoran frowned slightly. Who? Lan Jiaya giggled foolishly again. He fidgeted and didn't say anything, just like a young lady. Su Yiyin watched from the side and suddenly had an epiphany. Girlfriend? Yin Xiaoran was stunned. A few seconds later, she reacted and exclaimed, Really? You have a girlfriend? When did this happen? Why didn't you tell us something so important? Lan Jia blushed slightly and said with a smile, "It happened a few months ago. We just confirmed our relationship recently, so I didn't tell you guys." "So you've been going out to look for her recently? Even today?" "Yeah." "Then why didn't you just bring her over?" "She said that we just started dating and she wasn't ready to meet my parents right away." Yin Sharon raised her eyebrows. She sounded like a reserved girl, but she didn't know what her personality was like. "Is that girl your classmate or someone introduced her to you? Did you pursue her first?" Lan Jiaya didn't want to hide it anymore and said honestly, "We're from the same school, but we're not in the same faculty. She's a year younger than me. As for pursuing her, you could say that I pursued her first." "Why do you sound like you're not very sure?" "Actually, I only had a good impression of her at first. I didn't have that kind of thought." "Then why are you?" "It's all because of the host's Chinese motherwort boiled eggs." Su Yiyen was shocked when she was suddenly called out again. What does this have to do with the streamer? She remembered that the online ID of this young master of the Lan family seemed to be, "What can I do if I don't like you?" Did she draw him in the boiled eggs with motherwort episode? Yen Xiaoran saw her reaction, and her eyes flashed with a ray of light. Lan Jiaya smiled awkwardly and said, "Didn't the streamer pick 3 lucky viewers during the live stream? I contacted one of them and asked her to transfer the prize to me. I wanted to give it to you, but I didn't expect." Yen Xiaoran suddenly realized that when the Chinese motherwort boiled eggs were delivered to her, she was on her period and was in extreme pain. She heard from Lan Minghan that he had won this item from a lucky draw while watching someone's live stream. It was effective in treating menstrual pain. Before he brought it back, he had already tried it himself. There weren't any problems, so he asked her if she wanted to try it. Although Yen Xiaoran felt that the stuff online wasn't very reliable, her stomach was really hurting, so she drank it in the end. She didn't expect it to be effective. Chapter 426. It was also from then on that she and Lan Minghan became Su Yiyen's die-hard fans. However, other than tipping and participating in the lucky draw, they spent most of their time lurking and did not have much of a presence. "Don't tell me, you gave this to your little girlfriend after you saw it?" Lan Jiaya nodded in embarrassment. When he brought it home, he realized that although his brother said he did not want to watch it, his brother's body was very honest. He was lucky enough to be one of the lucky viewers. Since both of them had it, there was no need for him to give it to them. Lan Jiaya could not eat it himself, but it would be a waste to throw it away. After weighing the pros and cons, he gave it to his junior who had a good impression of him, and was also suffering from menstrual cramps. He did not expect that when he gave it to her, others would think that he was wooing her. His junior did not think that way, but she felt embarrassed not to reciprocate after eating his food. As time went by, the two of them came into contact with each other. After that, the two of them began to have feelings for each other. Naturally, when the conditions were right, success was achieved. After hearing his explanation, Su Yiyen said with a stiff face, "So, when you said you wanted to meet her personally and thank her, it was to thank her for unintentionally bringing your marriage together?" "That's one reason. My grandma's incident is another." Yen Sharon nodded in understanding and chuckled. "So the streamer is your matchmaker?" Su Yiyen. No, she did not want to be their matchmaker at all. Lan Jiaya touched his nose and smiled a little foolishly. "You can say that." "Okay. I'm relieved to know that you're just getting a girlfriend, and did not do anything bad. If something like this happens again in the future, you should tell us earlier so that our family doesn't know the inside story, and secretly let their imagination run wild." "Got it. Okay, go find your brother and the others. I have something to talk to your aunt about." Lan Jiaya instinctively wanted to ask something, but he was afraid that Yen Xiaoran would ask him about his girlfriend. He could only suppress his curiosity and hurriedly leave. As soon as he left, Yen Xiaoran looked at Su Yiyen, and suddenly picked up a piece of pastry from the table and handed it to her. "Eat one more." Su Yiyen had just eaten one. Seeing that the taste of this pastry seemed to be different from the previous one, she didn't think much of it and reached out to take it. Su Yiyen raised her head and looked at her in confusion. Her hand was already holding the pastry, but the other party did not let go. Before he could say anything, he heard Yin Xiaoran say, "You are actually the host, right?" Su Yiyen's eyes narrowed and her smile was a little stiff. "What did you say? How could I? I recognize your hand." Hand? Su Yiyen reflexively retracted her hand. Little did she know that her action had confirmed Yin Xiaoran's conjecture. "Your hands are slender and fair. I can tell that you've lived a comfortable life and haven't done any heavy work. But there's a small scar on the back of your right hand's ring finger. I saw it during the live broadcast. It's exactly the same. In addition, when Little Yi mentioned the host, your reaction was a little strange. Your name overlaps with the host's name, and when Little Yi went to your shop, he happened to bump into you, so I boldly made a guess. Could you be the host?" Su Yiyen widened her eyes and looked at the white scar on her right hand's ring finger. That was not even the size of a fingernail. She sighed inwardly. "Are you from the special department? You observed so carefully while watching a live broadcast." Chapter 427. Su Yiyen complained in her heart. Her mouth twitched. Why didn't you tell him just now? Since you don't want to show your real face to others even though you've opened a shop, and you don't want to reveal your identity when you see Jia Yi, I think you don't want too many people to know about this. Yin Xiaoran winked at her playfully. "Don't worry, I won't tell anyone." Su Yiyen's mood was complicated. She didn't know whether to be sad or happy. "I know it's rude of me to ask about your identity so rashly, but recently I've been troubled by a question. It's rare to meet the right person, so I couldn't help but ask." "What's the question?" "Can pregnant women eat rock candy papaya?" Su Yiyen almost choked on her own saliva. "Ha! Wait, rock candy papaya? Did you make it yourself?" "Of course not. It was a gift from the streamer's live stream. Did the streamer forget?" Su Yiyen's eyes widened slightly. She had a bold guess in her heart. She asked tentatively, "Pardon me for asking, but your husband is—" "My husband's surname is Lan and his name is Ming Han." "Lan Ming Han. This name, Ming Ming. Ruin? Does the streamer remember him?" The corner of Su Yiyen's mouth twitched a few times. She thought to herself, the only male viewer who won the prize was just right. After that, he even showed off his affection in her live broadcast room. If she still did not have an impression of him, then she would be too careless. "It's okay to eat a little, just don't eat too much." "That's good." Yin Xiaoran breathed a sigh of relief. "Speaking of which, Jia Yi isn't the only one who needs to thank you. Ming Han and I also need to thank you. If it weren't for the medicinal cuisine in your live stream, I'm afraid I wouldn't have a child so soon." Su Yiyen heard her words and had a bad feeling. Could it be that she and young Master Lan had eaten the medicinal cuisine that she made in her live stream to treat ovaries or men's diseases? Yin Xiaoran seemed to have seen through Su Yiyen's thoughts. She looked at her and smiled meaningfully. "Su Yiyen, the odds of winning are so high. Is your family the reincarnation of a koi? Ahem, you and your husband are young. It's only a matter of time before you have a child. It's just a coincidence." "That's true, but your medicinal cuisine must have had some effect. Auntie, you don't have to be modest." Su Yiyen. She was at a loss for words when he called her aunt. "How many months are you pregnant?" "Almost 3 months." Yin Xiaoran's stomach had actually started to rise and fall a little. It was just that the clothes she wore today were a little loose, so it couldn't be seen. "Your body is weak and you have some symptoms of cold congealing in your womb. You are more sensitive to the cold than the average person. During menstruation, your lower abdomen will also be cold and painful, and you will have to suffer a lot." Yin Xiaoran was startled. She was a little nervous. "Then what should we do?" "When the month gets bigger and the weather gets hotter, they should also be careful not to be too greedy. Tea. You can also soak your feet properly before you sleep. Let him massage the sunken part of your feet. You'll feel much better." Su Yiyen paused and comforted her. "The child is fine now. Don't worry." Yin Xiaoran sighed in relief. She knew that Su Yiyen's suggestions were good for her body. She listened carefully and remembered them in her heart. Chapter 428. If you feel any discomfort after giving birth, you can also ask me. Su Yiyen then seemed to think of something and added, you can also ask other doctors. I'm not as professional as they are. Yin Shaoran smiled. In my opinion, you're much more reliable than them. Su Yiyen smiled but didn't say anything. She said this to Yin Shaoran only because she cared about the kindness of the two elders of the Lan family, who had helped Hua Qinhuan in the past. Yin Shaoran was the eldest daughter-in-law of the Lan family. As Father Lan gradually handed over the Lan family's company to Lan Minghan in recent years, Mother Lan slowly gave up her position as the mistress of the Lan family. She accompanied her husband and the two elders to live a leisurely retirement life. At first, no one noticed that she was separated from the main group. Now that they saw the two of them hiding in a remote corner, they came over one by one. In just a few minutes, there were already 5 or 6 more people around the two of them. These people came for Yin Shaoran, and most of them didn't know Su Yiyen, so they didn't dare to talk to her rashly. Su Yiyen saw through these people's thoughts and was happy to be invisible. However, when she turned her gaze, she happened to see Hua Qihan, his wife, and Hua Xiaofeng not far away. This family of 3 was quite interesting. They came to attend someone else's birthday banquet, and their faces were dark the whole time. Especially the father and son, they didn't even want to look at each other, and kept their backs to each other. Those who didn't know better would think that they weren't father and son, but enemies. Mrs. Hua, who was sandwiched between the two of them, was naturally in a bad situation. She looked at her husband and then at her son, and she looked like she didn't know how to persuade them. A madam who wanted to please Yin Shaoran, but couldn't get a word in edgewise, saw that Su Yiyen had been staring in the direction of the family of 3. Her eyes flashed, and she finally found an opportunity to speak. Hey, aren't those people over there from the family Hua? Why do they look like they're quarreling? The other madam's attention was also instantly attracted. Family Hua? The family Hua of the Hua group? Who else could it be? Why are they here? When Yin Shaoran heard someone suddenly mention the family Hua, she subconsciously glanced at Su Yiyen. Seeing that her expression didn't seem to change, he faintly said, Family Hua's old master and our old master have known each other since they were young. Today is old master's birthday, so we invited these people to join in the fun. Several people saw that her expression was cold, and when she mentioned those people, she did not have the slightest intimacy in her voice. They knew that Yin Shaoran did not like these people very much. Yin Shaoran was the Lan family's young mistress and the future mistress of the Lan family. Her attitude most likely represented the Lan family's attitude. They looked at each other, and immediately understood what attitude they should adopt towards the family Hua trio. I heard that the young master of the family Hua was recently kicked out of the company by the old directors of the Hua Corporation. I heard about it too. Don't you think it's funny? The Hua Corporation was founded by old master Hua himself. Now he actually kicked out his own heir. If this was in the ancient times of Earth, this would be considered a coup d'état. If old master Hua's spirit is in heaven, I'm afraid he'll come back to life from anger. You can't blame the directors of the Hua Corporation. Although the Hua Corporation is a family Hua business, it's not only related to the family Hua's interests. Which of these old directors who receive dividends doesn't want to sit at home and earn a lot of money? Unfortunately, the young master of the Hua Corporation is a loser. You all heard about the Hua Corporation's plot of land a few days ago, right? Chapter 429. Yes. I heard about it too. Didn't the Hua Corporation donate that piece of land later on? They're a big corporation after all. They donated such a large piece of land just like that. Do you think they wanted to? They were forced to do it. I have a distant relative who happened to be in charge of the handover of that piece of land. I heard that because young Master Hua was in charge of that piece of land, he didn't get anyone to survey it before bidding for it. When they started construction, they immediately dug up something underneath. Coincidentally, young Master Hua brought a girl to look for Miss Su at the time, and the media happened to expose it. The Hua Corporation's reputation was damaged, and their stock price kept falling. They had no choice but to donate that piece of land to salvage some of their reputation. I know about that too. Do you think there's something wrong with young master family Hua's brain? When he broke off his engagement with Miss Su at the same time, it was such a big deal. Anyone with eyes could see that they were in the wrong. Yet, he still had the audacity to bring that mistress to look for Miss Su so openly. It looks like he really doesn't think he's in the wrong. These people only heard rumors and didn't necessarily understand the details. Otherwise, they would have recognized that the person sitting in front of them was one of the main characters in their conversation. One of the ladies said with a dark expression, "Which one of these stinky men thinks they're in the wrong for abandoning their wives to look for other women? If it weren't for that piece of land, they might have been picked up high and put down lightly again. If you ask me, young Master Hua deserves to be kicked out of the Hua Corporation. Not only is he incapable, but his character is also terrible. If the Hua Corporation is really handed over to him, I'm afraid it's the end." Perhaps they wanted to use the family Hua as a stumbling block, or perhaps it was because the family Hua's reputation in the industry wasn't good, but they spared no effort in criticizing the family Hua. Su Yiyan listened from the side and more or less took pleasure in their misfortune. When the other ladies heard the last lady's words, they looked at each other and understood what was going on. This madam's younger sister just so happened to be married to a man with a mistress outside. Before the marriage, she thought that he was a good man, but who knew that he would only reveal his true nature after the marriage? The madam's parents were old-fashioned people. They felt that it would be difficult for their daughter to find another man after the divorce, so they kept preventing her sister from getting a divorce. Her younger sister had been tortured for a few years. 2 years ago, she couldn't take it anymore and decided to castrate her husband and wipe her own knife. With such a record, it was normal that she did not have a good impression of Hua Xiaofeng. After all, most people would only feel pain when they stabbed themselves or the people they cared about. Now that their heir has been kicked out, I'm afraid the Hua Corporation is coming to an end. That's not necessarily true. Who knows, Mrs. Hua might be able to give birth to a young master for the family Hua. Ha 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 ha. When these words came out, several people could not help but laugh. In fact, they also knew that instead of hoping that Mrs. Hua would be able to keep her promise, it was better to hope that Hua Qihan would be strong and find another woman to give birth to a younger son for him. Even so, there were still some people who were not optimistic about this family. Actually, the family Hua has been going downhill over the years since it was handed over to the current person in charge. Isn't that so? When old Chairman Hua was still around, the Hua Corporation, several people shook their heads in unison and looked regretful. It's a pity. If the young master of the family Hua hadn't met with an accident back then, the Hua Corporation would be in charge of the Hua Corporation. The Hua Corporation might be different now. Chapter 430. Su Yiyan was shocked when she heard this. She felt like she was enjoying the show, but she was suddenly shocked by her own family. Speaking of which, I think I saw the young master coming over. He was just talking to the old master and old madam. The person was not sure and turned to ask Yin Xiaoran. Isn't that right, Xiaoran? Yin Xiaoran smiled. Today is grandfather's 70th birthday. Uncle Chunhuan took the time out of his busy schedule to come. Grandfather and grandmother are very happy. The way she called him, Uncle Chunhuan, was a stark contrast to the way she referred to him as these people. It really is him. After all, the old master is more influential. Ever since, it seems that he rarely shows his face outside. Isn't that right? I almost didn't recognize him when I saw him just now. He looks even better than before, but those legs. It's a pity. If it weren't for that accident, my little niece might have been a couple with him. Su Yiyan choked and shocked everyone at the table. Yin Xiaoran knew why she choked and quickly patted her on the back to help her breathe. Are you okay? I'm fine. Su Yiyan waved her hand with a subtle expression. Not only did she gossip about her own family, but she almost caused her own house to collapse. You just said that your niece almost became a couple with the young master of the family Hua back then. That person opened her mouth and was about to speak, but the woman next to her had already exposed her. Don't listen to her nonsense. How could the family Hua like her niece? The woman who had boasted about her niece was a little guilty at first when Su Yiyan asked, but she was unhappy when she heard this. My niece is a pure and innocent girl, and she's also beautiful. Why would the Hua family not like my niece? Innocent and beautiful girls can't marry into a rich family these days. Su Yiyan didn't know who these two women were, but she could tell that they didn't get along. She raised her eyebrows and asked curiously, Your niece is engaged to young Master Hua? The woman's expression stiffened, and her eyes began to wander. The woman who was bickering with her sneered, and exposed her on the spot. What engagement? Her niece had shamelessly pestered young Master Hua, but young Master Hua hadn't even looked her in the eye. Later, something happened to young Master Hua, and her niece ran away faster than anyone else. The next year, she married a peddler, and her child is probably a few years old now. As soon as she said that, the people around her looked at her with disdain. The woman panicked and defended her niece. Love is a matter of mutual consent. Besides, young Master Hua is crippled, and my niece is still so young. Is she going to hang herself on him for the rest of her life? Don't just stand there and talk. You speak so righteously, but if you're really not afraid, why don't you marry your daughters to him? The few of them choked and muttered in a low voice, Our girls have never shamelessly pestered others like your niece. Su Yiyan saw the change in everyone's expression. His eyes darkened and he stood up. Yan Shaoran thought she was going to lose her temper. Yan. Su Yiyan ignored her, and turned to look at the woman. Thank your niece for not marrying him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to meet someone better. I'll let it go this time, but if I hear you call him a cripple again. Su Yiyan's eyes turned cold and murderous. I'll make you a cripple. Chapter 431. Su Yiyan's sudden outburst shocked everyone present, including Yan Shaoran. By the time she reacted, Su Yiyan had already said, You guys take your time talking. I'm going back. She turned and left. After she walked away, the woman who had faced Su Yiyan's anger directly came to her senses. She pointed at Su Yiyan's back and asked, What did she mean by that? It's literally what it means. Yan Shaoran's expression was a bit ugly. She sneered. You mocked her husband's disability in front of her. She was kind enough not to flip the table and slap you on the spot. Husband? The woman exclaimed. She's. Yan Shaoran didn't want to waste time with her. She got up and said, I'm a bit tired. I'm going upstairs to rest. Help yourselves. As soon as Yan Shaoran left, the rest of the women consciously distanced themselves from the woman. The woman watched the two disappear into the distance. She couldn't help but shudder when she thought about the rumors about young Master Hua's unpredictable temperament and cruel means of revenge after being disabled. Oh no, she seemed to have gotten into big trouble. After Su Yiyan parted ways with Yan Shaoran and the others, she ran to find Hua Chenhuan. Hua Chenhuan was talking to the father and son of the Lan family. When she saw Su Yiyan come back alone, her eyes flashed slightly. She immediately stretched out her hand in her direction. Why are you here? It's boring to be alone over there, so I came to keep you company. Hua Chenhuan didn't believe her. She looked her up and down and asked tentatively, Tired? Su Yiyan was stunned. She thought about what the woman had just said and felt indescribably depressed. She lowered her eyes and said, A little. Hua Chenhuan saw that her mood was not as high as it was when she arrived. She frowned slightly and said to the father and son of the Lan family, There's something at home. We have to go back first. Yin Yin and I gave our gifts to the housekeeper before we came in. Tell Uncle Lan and Aunt Yi for me. Lan Minghan was surprised. You've only been here for a while. Why are you going back so soon? Papa Lan's gaze swept over Su Yiyan. He didn't force her to stay and only said, There are many people today. Let's have a meal together another day, just the two of us. Okay. Hua Chenhuan responded and left with Su Yiyan. As soon as the two of them left, Yan Shaoran also came over. She did not see Su Yiyan, so she asked doubtfully, Where are they? Let's go. Mr. Lan took the initiative to ask, What happened just now? I saw that Chen Huan's wife didn't look too good when she came back. Yin Xiaoran sighed and told the few of them about what had happened over there. Papa Lan and Mama Lan's faces darkened after hearing it. Master Lan and Hua Chenhuan's father were good friends. Before the accident, the two families had been in contact. Hua Chenhuan was about the same age as Lan Minghan. Although the couple and Hua Chenhuan were of the same generation, they had always regarded Hua Chenhuan as their nephew. It was rare that Hua Chenhuan was willing to take the initiative to come over to celebrate Master Lan's birthday. However, they encountered such a thing in their territory. How could they not be angry? These gossipy women love to gossip behind people's backs. Yin Xiaoran reminded her mother with a smile. Mom, they don't know the identity of Miss Su. If it weren't for the fact that they don't know, they wouldn't have said it in front of the person. They are not fools. Yin Xiaoran choked and was speechless. Mama Lan was a little worried after saying that. Do you think Miss Su will be unhappy because of this and quarrel with Chen Huan? Chapter 432. She had been isolated at home for so long and finally figured it out. She wanted to go out for a walk and change her mood. If she quarreled and went back to square one, wouldn't all her efforts be wasted? Mr. Lan frowned and comforted his wife. It shouldn't be. Didn't Chen Huan just agree to have dinner with us a few days later? Who knows what will happen in the future? If they quarrel, how can they be in the mood to eat with us? Lan Minghan also persuaded. Mom, I saw that Miss Su wasn't in a good mood just now, but she didn't lose her temper with little uncle. When little uncle left, he said that both of them brought gifts for grandpa. It can be seen that they have a good relationship. Miss Su should be unhappy, because she heard people talk about little uncle like that. Mrs. Lan's expression didn't change. She just wanted to say that Chen Huan said that both of them brought gifts, so both of them prepared gifts? Maybe he prepared the gifts for his wife because he loved her. Before he could say anything, Yin Xiaoran had already exclaimed, "Gift? What gifts?" Hearing Yin Xiaoran's question, they didn't doubt her and said truthfully, he said that he gave them to the housekeeper. Lan Minghan saw that she wanted to see, so he reminded her in a low voice, "There are so many guests now. Wait until they leave." Although Yin Xiaoran was curious, she knew that her husband was right. She nodded and secretly guessed that Su Yiyan might have sent those precious Chinese herbs. Su Yiyan didn't let her down. When the banquet was over and the crowd dispersed, Yin Xiaoran hurriedly asked the housekeeper to send the gifts that Hua Chenhuan brought. Hua Chenhuan picked a good jade for Mr. Lan. It was warm to the touch, which was suitable for people like the old man who was afraid of the cold. In addition, he also gave a string of pearls to old Madame Lan under the pretext of giving a gift. Su Yiyan's gift was placed under these two things in a long box. When they opened it, they were stunned. This is... Before Mr. Lan finished speaking, Lan Minghan, and Yin Xiaoran shouted in unison, "Ginseng!" The two elders were stunned. You all know what this is? Of course, it's a kind of Chinese medicine. It had appeared in the host's live broadcast room before. It was said to be a very, very precious Chinese medicine that could greatly replenish vitality. Even if a seriously ill patient still has a single breath left, this thing can also help to prolong their life. So magical. Father Lan looked at his second son, his eyes full of doubt. He always felt that his second son was bragging. Lan Jiaye could tell what his father was thinking at a glance, and he was furious. Just as he was about to argue with him, Yin Xiaoran had already taken a step forward and explained for him. Although it may not be that exaggerated, but it's more or less the same effect. The data provided by the Research Institute couldn't be faked. It's just that it's said that the older it is, the more nutritious it is. If you really want to eat such a big tree, you might only need a little bit. You can't eat too much at once. When Mr. and Mrs. Lan heard her words, they looked at the box of ginseng with more caution. The Research Institute mentioned it before, so it should be true. You have to keep such a precious thing well. Seeing this, Lan Jiaye couldn't help but whisper, "You don't believe me when I say it, but you believe it when my brother and sister-in-law say it." Mr. Lan was amused by his words. If you could be as sensible as your brother and sister-in-law, I would believe it too. You only know how to run around all day. You're not serious, and you still want people to believe you. Chapter 433. Lanjaya opened his mouth to refute. He wasn't running around, he was looking for a girlfriend. But then he thought that if he said that, his father might think that he was going out to pick up girls, which was also not a proper occupation. He could only shut his mouth reluctantly. When Lan Minghan heard his wife's words, he suddenly remembered that the host had mentioned the medicinal effect of this thing in the live broadcast room. He told the housekeeper, "This is good stuff. Even the research institute might not have many of them. Occasionally, when you stew soup, you can put a few pieces or a few roots in it. You have to take good care of it." The housekeeper hurriedly agreed. He suddenly felt that the hand holding the box was much heavier. Lanjaya stared at the high-quality ginseng, and spontaneously found an excuse for Su Yiyan. Yin must have seen this in the host's live broadcast room. He knew that this thing was precious, so he specially bought it from the host and gave it to Grandpa. The corner of Yin Xiaoran's mouth twitched. She thought, "It's not as troublesome as you think. This thing originally belonged to me." Lanjaya's mother frowned slightly and scolded her youngest son. "Is Yin someone you can call? You have no respect for your elders." Lanjaya. She clearly said that calling her aunt made her sound old, so he called her that. In the end he still got scolded. He was really picked up from the streets. Yin Xiaoran didn't help him. She smiled faintly and said, "Mom, now you Dad and Grandpa and Grandma can rest assured. Miss Sue is willing to give us such a precious thing. Obviously, she cares about little uncle. She knows that we treat little uncle well, so she gave such a good thing to Grandpa." Just like what Minghan said just now, she doesn't look well. It's most likely because she heard that little uncle was criticized by those gossipy women. She can't wait to feel sorry for little uncle. She won't quarrel with little uncle. That's good. Lanjaya's mother was relieved. She secretly thought that Hua Chenhuan had suffered too much these years. If there really was someone who cared about him and loved him, it could be considered that his parents in heaven were watching over him. At that time, Su Yiyan, who didn't know that her bad mood was exposed, was worried that she might quarrel with Hua Chenhuan. She was really angry. While he was angry, he couldn't help but feel sorry for the people around him. Hua Chenhuan noticed that she had been staring at her since she got into the car. She asked in a low voice, "Is there anything on my face?" Su Yiyan shook his head. "Not feeling well?" Su Yiyan shook his head again. "Not in a good mood?" Su Yiyan shook his head and then nodded. Hua Chenhuan couldn't help laughing. "Is this good or bad?" Su Yiyan snorted coldly and turned his face away. Seeing her like this, Hua Chenhuan restrained the smile on her face and asked in a low voice, "What happened? Who made you unhappy?" "No one. I just followed young Madame Lan to listen to a few people's gossip. My heart is a little blocked." Hua Chenhuan's face fell completely when she heard the word gossip. "What did they say?" Su Yiyan snorted and said unhappily, "They say that you young Master Hua used to be handsome and dashing, and the girls who liked you almost broke the threshold of your family's house." Hua Chenhuan's face stiffened slightly. She didn't expect Su Yiyan to bring this up. She said without thinking, "Don't listen to their nonsense. It's all fake." "Really? Then why did I hear that there was a girl who almost got engaged to you?" "Engaged?" Hua Chenhuan's face was full of shock. Which bastard dared to spread such rumors about him? Did they have a death wish? Chapter 434. Hua Chenhuan, who was caught off guard by the accusation, was stunned for a few seconds. He quickly expressed his loyalty and said, "Nonsense. I have never been engaged to anyone except you, and I have never liked any other woman. Don't listen to their nonsense." "Really? Absolutely. Then is it true that many girls used to like you?" Hua Chenhuan choked. Su Yiyan knew it was true when she saw his reaction. She was jealous and annoyed. Hua Chenhuan was a little flustered at first. When he calmed down, he noticed that something was wrong. Su Yiyan's reaction was jealousy, but it looked more like she was really angry. Did they also say that no girls were willing to approach me after I became disabled? Su Yiyan froze and did not speak. Hua Chenhuan had already gotten the answer from her reaction. He breathed a sigh of relief and reached out to straighten Su Yiyan's body. You are angry because of this, right? Su Yiyan pursed her lips and still did not speak. Seeing her like this, Hua Chenhuan suddenly remembered what he had heard from Yu Zian. The man in front of him had beaten Hua Xiaofeng to the hospital because he had mocked him for being disabled. His heart was as soft as cotton, poking holes in it. Isn't that good? I don't like them. I only feel annoyed when they always come to me. I am happy that they don't bother me. What Hua Chenhuan did not say was that there were still women who wanted to bother him when he was disabled. Later, he gave up because he knew that his father did not give the Hua group to him, but to Hua Qihan. However, Hua Chenhuan did not care much about this. He only cared about Su Yiyan from the beginning to the end. He used to hate his disability because he felt that he was not complete and was not worthy of Su Yiyan. Even so, Su Yiyan came to him without hesitation and walked into his life. Compared with this, nothing else mattered. Moreover, I am slowly getting better now. Soon I will not be disabled. Su Yiyan heard the first half of his words and did not like to talk. When she heard the second half, her face changed. She covered Hua Chenhuan's mouth and said, "Don't say it." "What? Don't say that word." "Okay, I won't say it." Hua Chenhuan took Su Yiyan's hand and smiled. "Who said this to you? Did you quarrel with them? Did you suffer any losses?" Su Yiyan hesitated for a moment and said truthfully, "I didn't lose anything. They didn't even know who I was in the beginning." "Don't know who you are?" "Yes. At first, they were talking about Hua Qihan's family. Later, I don't know why they suddenly talked about you. One of the women said that you and her niece almost became a couple. There was another woman next to her who did not get along with her very well. She mocked her niece and said that you did not want her niece. Later, when you had an accident, she ran away faster than anyone else." When the woman heard this, she was angry and began to talk about you without thinking. Hua Chenhuan listened to the ins and outs of the matter, but laughed and teased. "You know that she is the one who is pestering me. I don't like her at all. Why are you jealous just now?" Su Yiyan was exposed and became angry out of shame. "Do you have a problem with that?" Hua Chenhuan immediately surrendered. "No, you are my wife. You should be jealous when others say this. I am also happy that you can be jealous for me." Chapter 435. Su Yiyan listened to Hua Chenhuan's kind response. She felt a little embarrassed, but she still snorted proudly. Although Hua Chenhuan liked that Su Yiyan was jealous of her, she didn't want her to be angry because of this. She comforted her at the right time. "That woman is also stupid. Let's not argue with an idiot. It's bad for your health to be angry." Su Yiyan calmed down and thought about it. Wasn't this woman stupid? Putting aside the fact that her niece was only in love with him back then, even if they were in love with each other back then, her niece had already married someone else and had children. Hua Chenhuan also had his own small family, so these things should not be talked about. If this spread to the family of her niece's son-in-law and her niece's son-in-law, what would they think of her niece? Or was she taking advantage of the fact that she wasn't around and so many years had passed to give her niece the title of a former lover? Who was she trying to disgust? Su Yiyan thought about it and felt that there was only one possibility, and that was, "What's wrong?" Hua Chenhuan saw Su Yiyan suddenly raise her head and stare at her faintly. Her heart trembled, for fear that she would say something shocking again. Su Yiyan shook her head and said earnestly, "Nothing. I just suddenly thought of a saying." "What saying?" "Money moves people's hearts." These women dared to openly mock Hua Qihan's family and elevate Hua Chenhuan. On the one hand, it was because Hua Qihan's family had suffered a big setback recently. On the other hand, it was nothing more than seeing that Hua Chenhuan had a good relationship with the Lan family. They wanted to build a relationship with the Lan family through Hua Chenhuan. To put it bluntly, what was tempting was never the person, but the hidden benefits behind the person. If that's the case, you don't have to worry. Su Yiyan looked at him in confusion. "I'm just a gigolo who depends on my wife. If you don't pay me a salary, I won't even have the money to support my family. What else is there for them to covet? Su Yiyan thought about it for a while. That seemed to be the case. Needless to say, the feeling of being in control of the family's finances was really great. Su Yiyan, who was a little confused by the sugar-coated bullet of money, suddenly looked better. Then she saw her man's face, and her face suddenly became serious again. She said earnestly, "Beauty can also move people's hearts." Su Yiyan even touched Hua Chenhuan's face like a dandy who was flirting with a man from a good family. "Just like me. What I fancy is your beauty." Fortunately, the front and back seats of the car had soundproof glass, which perfectly isolated the two people's voices. Otherwise, if the driver in front heard Su Yiyan's words, he would have driven the car into a ditch. Perhaps because she had been flirted with too many times during this period, Hua Chenhuan was no longer blushing like before. When she heard Su Yiyan's words, she even smiled and replied, "No matter how their hearts are moved, it's useless. They will only be yours." Su Yiyan. Aya, her skin had become thick-skinned. She was not as easy to flirt with as before. However, these words were quite pleasant to hear, so she reluctantly let it go. "That's more like it. Remember what you said. No matter if it's your money or your beauty, you must not pick the wildflowers outside." Seeing that Su Yiyan was no longer angry with those people, Hua Chenhuan's eyes also had a little more smile. However, this smile did not last long, and was replaced by coldness. Although he comforted Su Yiyan not to take those words to heart, he did not intend to let off the woman who gossiped and hurt Su Yiyan. You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.